A table for three, a secret phone, a prey that doesn't give back what it holds. This is the story of a marriage torn apart by desire, a lover who wanted it all, and a night that ends in silence. What turns a friendly meal into the last moment of life? And a love triangle into a body in the water? Welcome to Lost Crimes. Subscribe to go to what we came for, the Mary Wambui Love-Triangle murder. On Sunday, 27 January 2019, the quiet of Juja in Kiambu County shattered. In the dark waters of Mugutha Dam, a body wrapped in sheets surfaced. It looked like a scene from domestic horror, but it wasn't fiction. It was the life of Mary Wambui, a 39-year-old whose story would soon shake Kenya. To understand the impact, we step back to Mary's beginnings in Kiambu. Born in 1979, she built what many consider an impossible dream, a respected career in hardware and real estate. Through energy and discipline, she grew successful businesses, earned a reputation for being hardworking and dedicated, and with her husband Joseph Kori raised 2 children. In a country marked by inequality and daily struggle, her life looked like a clear story of upward mobility, the kind people point to when they talk about perseverance. The family lived in Garden Estate, Nairobi, and through steady effort reached a level of comfort many envied. Kiambu, with its contrasts of gated affluence and problems hidden behind high walls, was the stage on which Mary wove her world. Money was not in short supply. At one point, Joseph even gifted his wife a Mercedes-Benz C200. All of it made what came next feel even more unthinkable. But behind the facade of success and harmony, a shadow was forming. Joseph, also a businessman, met a woman in 2016 who would alter the course of all their lives, Judy Wangui. She was from a nearby town, with primary schooling only, often struggling to make ends meet. Working as a waitress, Judy gradually became far more than an acquaintance to Joseph. What began as friendly familiarity turned into frequent contact, then emotional intimacy, the kind that lives off secrecy and opportunity. To get by, Judy sold boiled eggs, sausages, and tea at a car wash in Thindigua, and she polished customers' shoes for K-Shash 200 a pair. These hustles kept her afloat in the so-called magical city, a place that promises opportunity, but often delivers precarity. She met Joseph while working. One day, as he passed by his Pale Qua car wash, he noticed her, and then introduced himself. What began as a brief exchange over tea and polite small talk turned into regular visits, offers of help, and the subtle drift from customer to confidant. After a handful of conversations that grew into a friendship, Joseph Kori helped Judy land a cashier position at his hardware store, an offer framed as a chance to change her fortunes. What looked like opportunity quickly became proximity, shared shifts, after-hours errands, and the everyday trust of handling money. In that closeness, the roles of employer and employee blurred into confidant and companion. But the one who wanted something more serious, something sentimental and exclusive, was Judy. After seeing the luxurious life Joseph provided his wife, houses, cars, trips, the quiet status that comes with comfort, Judy Wangui wanted everything too. Joseph enjoyed Judy's company in discreet spots, cafes, parking lots, short drives, always hoping his beloved wife wouldn't catch them. He kept the meetups brief, the stories ready, and the phone on silent. The affair lived in shadows, sustained by secrecy and risk. They slept together. At first it felt like an affair, fleeting and thrilling, but Judy didn't want it to stay that way. She pushed for commitment, for something official and exclusive, while Joseph kept it hidden, insisting on secrecy and control. She wanted Mary's lifestyle, trips to Dubai and Malaysia, generous monthly support, and the status of being the first lady in Joseph's life. Joseph took Judy to concerts and expensive dinners, but it was clear he wanted her only as a mistress. There were rules: no public photos, no meeting the children, no holidays, and gifts in cash, not commitment. That's when she pushed for more. She asked Joseph to make good on her dream of a better home, and he obliged with an apartment at Daisy Court 4, Four Ways Junction, with housekeeping. The rent? $60,000 a month. He started bankrolling a lifestyle that turned heads. Suddenly there were new clothes, salon visits, and a motorbike. "Look at her riding," people whispered. In Four Ways Junction, neighbors noticed the deliveries, the late-night drop-offs, the cash. What had been quiet was now visible, and visibility brings questions. The triangle was set: Mary, the wife and devoted mother; Joseph, the husband split between family routine and the thrill of a forbidden romance; and Judy, the mistress intent on displacing the legitimate spouse. Meanwhile, Mary Wambui felt something was wrong. Joseph was often out, leaving at night, spinning late returns into thin explanations. Patterns replaced promises. And then the truth settled in. He was cheating. Tension became inevitable. By 2018, Mary already knew. She discovered the relationship and confronted Joseph. But instead of cutting ties, Joseph tried to reconcile with Mary while keeping Judy, a fatal mistake. Judy, wounded by broken promises of marriage, began shaping a plan built on revenge and obsession. She refused to remain the other. She wanted the whole position, and in her mind, Mary was the obstacle to eliminate. The blueprint was cruel. If she couldn't win, everyone would lose. She would not allow herself to be left behind, alone and discarded. On Saturday, 26 January 2019, Judy, angry and impulsive, rented a car and headed to Joseph Kori's marital home. The purpose was confrontation. She felt ignored, avoided, and strung along. But when the gate opened, there was a surprise. Mary Wambui stood inside. Joseph was away. In an instant, a plan meant to pressure Kori shifted into a face-to-face collision with the wife he had kept separate from his double life. Mary was stunned to see that the woman Joseph was cheating with was her former hardware employee, Judy Wangui. Trying to keep things civil, Judy invited Mary to lunch to settle the issue of Joseph's double life. This was a video that Mary recorded before she was murdered. They even allowed themselves to be photographed enjoying nyam cham, a beloved Kenyan roasted meat dish. The irony was chilling. Mary shared a meal with the woman who, hours later, would strangle her. No one at that table could have guessed that this seemingly friendly lunch was, in truth, Mary's last meal. After leaving the hotel restaurant, the two headed to Judy's apartment at Four Ways Junction. A camera captured them departing together, and that footage marks the last confirmed sighting of Mary Wambui alive. The apartment they were heading to was a place Joseph had funded, the very space that sustained his double life. Inside those rooms, the built-up tension finally erupted. Mary never walked out alive. What happened within those four walls survives in the forensic record. Mary Wambui was strangled, and her body was later dumped in water, the same grim journey that ended at Magutha Dam. What exactly happened inside Judy's apartment that day? After lunch, they went to Judy's apartment in Mary's Mercedes. On arrival, Mary grew angry when she saw photos of her husband hanging on the mistress's wall. A fight broke out. They struggled over a knife. Judy ran to the kitchen and struck Mary on the head with a pressure cooker, then strangled her with her hands. She wrapped the body in sheets and blankets and left it in the kitchen. At around 9:54 p.m., Judy left the apartment in Mary's car and drove back to Homeland Inn, the same place they'd eaten earlier. The goal? Abandon the Mercedes so it would look like Mary never left the restaurant. Access was denied, so she left the car nearby and returned to Four Ways by taxi around 11 p.m. On arriving, she called Michael Mathenge, a trustworthy man, to help dispose of the body. He reached the apartment close to midnight. They changed the plan. First, they retrieved the Mercedes from near Homeland Inn and returned to the apartment. They loaded the body into Mary's vehicle, placing it across the back seats and removing the baby seat that belonged to Mary's children. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, in 2 cars, the Mercedes and Mathenges, they drove to Mugutha. Judy considered rolling the car into the water with the body inside, then changed her mind. They dumped the body only. On the way back, they discarded the wrappings, the clothes, and blankets used to cover the body and the baby seat. Finally, they headed to the Kwamayiko shopping center, where they abandoned Mary's car. It was found 2 days later. Crimes of passion rarely stay hidden. The next day, Sunday, 27 January 2019, fishermen spotted a body in the waters of Mugutha Dam. With media spotlights blazing, police began to connect the dots. By February 2019, Judy Wangui, Joseph Kori, and Michael Mathenj were arrested. The case exploded across newscasts, with headlines branding Judy, the side chick who killed her lover's wife. The autopsy confirmed what investigators already suspected: asphyxia by strangulation. During interrogations, Michael confessed and identified Judy as the principal actor. In a sharp turn, Joseph was released in March 2019 and became a state witness, providing evidence against Judy. Investigators also learned Judy had fantasized about killing Joseph as part of a spiraling revenge, which is why she went to his marital home, a plan that shifted when she encountered Mary instead. The court process moved unevenly. Judy was formally charged with murder and pleaded not guilty. Michael, by contrast, accepted his role as an accomplice and secured a plea deal, receiving a suspended sentence of 1.5 years in November 2021. Joseph testified against Judy, detailing schemes such as attempted forgery of property documents. Meanwhile, Judy, repeatedly denied bail, waited for a conclusion to a trial that, through 2025, remained unresolved. The question haunting the country was simple and terrifying. How could a woman who seemingly had everything, thriving businesses, a family, and an apparently secure future end up like this? The answer lay in an explosive mix: a fractured marriage, a mistress determined to become the official wife, and a man unable to face the consequences of his lies. Police soon centered on the testimony of Michael Mathenj, the man who helped Judy dispose of the body. His confession was crucial to rebuilding the timeline. Michael admitted Judy called him on the night of Saturday, 26 January 2019, asking for help, and that together they transported the body to the dam. His words aligned with the autopsy and physical evidence. Mary had been killed inside Judy's apartment, strangled with cold precision. The details chilled the public: the body wrapped in sheets, loaded into the victim's own car, and driven under cover of night. It was not only a crime of passion, it was meticulously calculated, executed with a level of detachment many struggle to reconcile with the social media image of a woman who, until recently, appeared to be enjoying life. Judges and prosecutors made their calls. In November 2021, Michael received a suspended sentence of 1.5 years, a decision that outraged many who expected an exemplary punishment. Judy, by contrast, faced a longer process: bail applications denied, a trial stretched by appeals and delays. By 2025, her fate remained uncertain, yet the stain of the accusation had already cast her as an infamous figure in Kenya's collective memory. Court hearings exposed further details that fed public curiosity. It emerged that Judy had attempted to falsify property documents to claim assets as her own, signaling that her ambition reached beyond Joseph's affection to the economic fruits of his marriage to Mary. Joseph, turned state witness, testified against her, reinforcing the image of Judy as a solitary antagonist, abandoned even by the man she said she loved. What gripped the public wasn't the legal technicalities. It was the scenes that felt ripped from a macabre script. The Naim Cham lunch, where Mary and Judy shared laughter over roasted meat, became the country's most replayed moment. A photograph here, a smile there, then the CCTV frame of them leaving together. In hindsight, it read like a ritual of betrayal, a friendly meal that doubled as a last meal, the calm before death by strangulation. That juxtaposition, public warmth followed by private violence, etched the case into Kenya's memory more deeply than any court filing ever could. Meanwhile, Mary's family grieved in quiet. Her 2 children were marked by their mother's absence and by the public humiliation of a case that seemed to have no end. Their statements, heavy with sorrow, surfaced occasionally in the media, reminding everyone that behind the curiosity and speculation stood a real human tragedy: a daughter, a sister, and a mother whose life had been taken. That transformation, from crime to popular narrative, isn't accidental. It reflects how societies consume tragedy as both catharsis and warning. In Mary's case, the plot felt almost too perfect to ignore. Love, deceit, jealousy, betrayal, death. Each element locked into place like a true crime puzzle, feeding both public outrage and morbid fascination. Within that gaze, Judy emerged as the femme fatale, reviled yet mesmerizing, a symbol of what happens when ambition and jealousy overrun every limit. And that brings us to the end of this episode. If you value respectful storytelling that keeps the victim at the center, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and see you next time.